How's that battle going with George and Cortez over there on the edge?
It's good, man. It's been all week. And shoot, I shouldn't say all week. Going back to 3 weeks ago, they've been battling it out, and I think we have some really good depth at the end position. I feel the same way at the stud position. They've done a really good job before I got here recruiting some good players, and I feel like we're going to be able to keep those guys fresh and rotate them. And I think each of them have their strengths, and like I said, the main thing is being able to just keep those guys fresh, because when they're at full speed, they're powerful, they're strong, explosive guys that I think can wreak a lot of havoc here in our conference. I think George has a little bit more explosion, where Cortez, I think, is pretty strong at the point of attack, but so is George. Like, I just think, I would say probably the biggest difference is George's explosiveness off the ball. But other than that, they're pretty similar.
Are they different? Like, if you're the other team, are you going to see something different? Are they going to have to change what they do?
You might see something a little bit different in like what type of pass rush you're going to get, but they're pretty much a very similar player.
So whoever wins the spot, you envision both of them seeing, I don't know if it's
Oh
equal,
yeah, they're both going to play a lot, and I've told both of them that they're both going to play a ton, and that's how typically in the past where you have a really good deep defense, you've got to keep those edge players fresh because those guys got to be explosive off the ball throughout the whole entire game, and so I don't see either of those guys playing more than 60 plays unless we get into a game that we're playing like 100 plays in a game. So
I don't know how much detail you want to dive into, but what is the plan to rotate every couple series?
Just
game?
as the game flows, man. Okay. No idea. Yeah, just typically we'll see how it starts, and typically how I've done in the past. If a series is long, that we'll throw somebody in, and then to start a series, switch it up. But kind of just how the game flows, and sometimes you take the hot hand as well. If somebody's playing, through the second half, somebody's playing a little bit better, you tend to favor that guy a little bit more. But I think we'll have production out of both those guys.
How much better? A couple times that George has been the team's top pass rusher in fall. How important is it to develop some pass rush from that side of the field and not just rely on the edge guys?
Yeah, so you got to be able to have bounce rush, and so I know that over the years the stud position for them has been major, has had a ton of production, and so to be able to have Meach on one side, and you have Devon Wright over there as well, and then be able to get the production out of George and out of Cortez, I just feel like it's really balanced, and I think offenses are going to have to, they're going to have to pick which way they want to slide to, and if they slide one way, I think the other side is going to make them pay.
How much of a gift was it to get a guy like George? Now that you've had more than a few weeks with him in practice, how much of a gift is it to get a guy like that?
Yeah, a guy that has a ton of experience, that's played really well. Those guys, huge value to our program because you're not now training a guy. So a guy like Devon Wright that's just come in, hasn't played a ton of college football, there's a little bit more development in that. A guy that's really talented, but there's a little bit more development where you got a guy like George that's played a lot of football at a high level and on a team that's won some conference championships, so he knows how to win, knows how to compete. And so you're getting really a full package, but just for 1 year, but we'll take it for right now.
Last time I talked to George, he was only on campus for a couple of weeks. He said that he truly wished that he was here for 4 years because of how much he had already learned in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
What do you see about him? What maybe makes him unique about the way that he goes about?
Man, he's the first guy in every morning, always coming into my office before team meeting and always checking in, and throughout the day checking in, and he's hungry to learn. And I know he's doing the same thing with Coach Avalos, the same thing with Coach Miley, the same thing with Coach Danielson. So he's going and he's just trying to get all the knowledge that he can get. And I've been really impressed with how fast he's picked up on things, not just the scheme, but also the culture. And he's done a great job of just being humble and hungry and knowing that he doesn't know it all. Sometimes a guy that comes in with that experience wants to be the know-it-all, but he's really adjusted to the techniques and fundamentals that we do here. And, there's still a learning curve there. He's still trying to pick up on a couple things here and there, but I've been impressed with just how hungry he's been to just learn and want to be the best he can be.
New coach takes over a guy that has played a lot of college football, as you said, probably looking to fine-tune. Maybe what's one thing you've seen him be better since he's been here at?
With George, you said?
Yeah.
Man, I would just say, in the run game, he's a really dynamic pass rusher, and I think that's probably his strength. I'm not saying that he's weak in the run game, but I would say that's the growth that I've seen the most in, and that he's done the most in fall camp. And so I think as he continues to grow, he's making himself a well-rounded player.
What's his ceiling? Is it the NFL? You have some background.
Yeah, I never like to talk about that because you just never know, man. But he has the size, he has the strength, he has the explosiveness, he's smart. So I think he has all all the qualities that an NFL player has now, he has to go out there and do it. You know, he has to be productive and he has to do his job within the scheme. And I think if he does that, everything will take care of itself.
How unique is it? You obviously been new, and George and Cortez and Devon and just a lot of new guys trying to
We're all
figure this out.
Oh
together.
yeah, we're all learning together, and it's been good. I mean, I've had to learn fast because those guys are hungry, and I've had to be able to make sure I know my stuff because you have a guy like Meach that, man, he's sitting in the room and sometimes telling me what to do, you know, as I'm learning this scheme. So I got to make sure when I go to that meeting, I'm well prepared. And but just having him in that room and having the playing experience that he's had, I think has helped the whole entire room grow faster because he set a high standard. And you know, getting those other guys, they see that and they need to get caught up to him. And it's been, you know, I love the room. There's a lot of experience in there. There's a lot of talent in there. And like I said, I think it gives us a reason for us to be able to have, play with a lot of depth.
Sounds like Washington and Wright are on one side, and then Hogan's and George on the other side. Is there a fifth guy in the mix?
You know, we're still trying to play that out. The thing that's great about our scheme is you got some inside backers that can potentially move outside, and the same thing, you got some outside backers that can move inside, and that's, you know, kind of the way that we've recruited versatile players. But right now, you know, I think we'll stick to those four, and we'll see. You know, Isaiah's always been a guy that can do both, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Just schematic-wise, do you call them both edges now, or is there?
Yeah, so the group is an edge. They're called edges. So one's a stud and the other one's the defensive end.
Okay.
Yep.
A stud edge and a defensive end
Yeah,
edge?
yeah. The combination is edge, and then that's just the edge position, and then one is the boundary that lines up to the boundary, the other one lines up to the field.
You look at, I guess, the stud position particularly. What's like the psychological approach there? Because that can be such a game-changing type of position with what they're asked to do.
Yeah, you know, like I said before, the versatility that player has to have because he's got to be a dynamic rusher, but he's also got to be able to play in the space because he's going to drop. And so being able to do both, and number one, the most important thing, be able to set the edge of the defense in the run game. So he's got to go and be able to do all of those things at a high level, and that takes a special player and a special talent. And so I think, you know, like I said before, they've done a great job over the years of putting the right guys in the right positions, and you know, with Meach there and the experience that he has, I think that's just going to help him take that next step this next season.
How would you describe Devon Wright's personality?
Devon is, you know, high energy guy, goes out there and plays with a high motor, high effort. He loves football. He is always wanting to learn and grow and still trying to know how to learn and grow in the game of football. But, man, he is hungry and he's getting better at his study habits. But, yeah, he plays fast all the time. So a lot of the time it's just us pulling him back, you know, because the tempos of practice change. And so sometimes he's going a little bit faster than he should be, but that's good. I'd rather have to pull somebody back than to get him going. But I've been impressed with just his work ethic and just the motor that he plays with.
How do you teach a guy like Cortez Hogan's who has had such a college career that's gone so many places? He's probably heard from 18 different coaches about how to play this position, and you're another one. I mean, what is the first couple things you're trying to tell him?
It's just a process of how you do it. So, you know, Coach Avs had his way of playing certain techniques for a long time, and there's a process and steps that you take. You just start at step one, and you work your way through it. And yeah, there are steps along the way that are probably more difficult than others, and every guy's a little bit different. They pick up some faster than others, but the way that Coach Av does it with his techniques is there's a process behind each technique, and you go from one step to the next step to the next step, and then you learn the next technique. And so, you know, I think for those guys that come into the program, they've designed it here to do a great job of how to teach techniques one step at a time.
It sounds like a teacher's lesson plan. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm impressed with just the way that we install things here, not just from, you know, a technique standpoint, but also from a scheme standpoint, and just the process behind it, step by step. I think it helps our guys learn fast, and they're able to retain it quicker.
With special teams, I guess kick return, punt return. How do you feel about that group, and who's kind of stood out?
Yeah, I feel great. I think that, you know, there's a battle still going on at every position right there. You know, you got Cobbs that has done it before, and Genty, and you got Cole Wright, and you got Caden Dudley. Like, there's a lot of guys that are back there for the kick return thing. So still trying to figure out who that guy will be, but I feel comfortable with all those guys. And then a punt returner, that's more of KB's deal, that he's over that. But same thing. I think there's a lot of guys there. that are competing for it, and still kind of waiting to see how things pan out over the next week.
What does Genty provide there at kick return? You're just being a true freshman, but it seems like he's a guy you guys are trying to find ways to get on.
Yeah, we're just trying to get more touches for that guy because he's explosive, he's fast, he's big, he's hard to tackle, and he's going to hit things fast. And so that's what I've always found with a kick returner is you need a guy that's going to hit it and is not going to shy away from contact. And knowing that there's a chance that there's a kickoff guy that might come free, there might be a big, big hit opportunity right there. I always tell them they got to have blind faith. Trust their blocking scheme, and running backs are used to that more than receivers of running in tight holes. And so that's why we like to make sure that, try to typically get running backs on there.
I don't know if this is part of your responsibility, but kickoff and punt, any updates?
Yeah,
there on
so
that one?
Coach KB's over kickoff, but with the punt team, I help out with that. Really, I shouldn't say over. Coach KB and we work and collaborate together.
Sure.
I feel really comfortable. I should say we feel really comfortable with the punt team, and there's a really good competition going on right there at punt. Yeah, both of them are battling back and forth, and and I would say the same thing at long snapper as well. There's a battle going on there, and feel pretty good with the depth around it. Feel like that team has a lot of really good talent on it, offensively and defensively, and feel like that could be one of the strengths of our team is our punt team.
Long snapper still Hutton and Grant?
Yes.
We're barely over a week from game day. Can you guys start to sense that, it's almost here? I mean, the season opener?
Yeah, things are going quicker. This week was more of a normal week for us, routine-wise. So practice Tuesday, practice Wednesday, had our kind of Thursday lighter day, and then tomorrow's our Fast Friday. And it feels more like a game week. And so just trying to get in that mode, like Coach Av's been saying a lot, but trying to just get ourselves used to what it's going to be like in a normal game week. And so I've liked it. I've never done it this way before. I think it's helping our players get their body and their legs back ready for the game next week.
What's Fast Friday?
It's just a different way to practice. A lighter day. Most people have it like a walkthrough day, but it's just a day to go. They call it Fast Fridays here. We call it Fast Fridays here to go out there and just get reps fast, get the body fired up, ready to go for Saturday.
And that's what you'll do during the season, like pre-game,
Yeah.
day before the game?
Yep.
Have you had a chance to look at Oregon State yet?
Oh, yeah.
If so, what stands out about the offense?
I think their quarterback is a really good player, very efficient, can run the ball as well. I think they have a really good scheme, really good run game, and some play action pass boots off of it that can be, really explosive for them. So got to be able to stop the run, number one, and then be able to stop those big shots down the field. And, also the quarterback got to contain him to make sure he doesn't get out and hurt us with his legs.